Last night, my sleep was cut short by a phone call that came from an unknown number. The ringing woke me up. I scrambled to the phone and looked at the time. It was 3:05 a.m. I looked down at the blindingly bright light of my smartphone. The call was coming from an unknown number. My decision-making wasn't the best in that moment, and I decided to pick up. Hello? Who is this?
Hi, mister. My name is Stacy.
This caught me off guard. The person was a small child, judging by the voice. I sobered up in a second and perked up my ears. Hi, Stacy. Honey, are you okay? Why are you calling me?
He said I can't talk to anyone, or I would be punished.
Her voice sounded shaken up and she was crying. Who told you that? Your father?
No, the man that took me to his house and said it was my new home, and that my parents gave me to him. I haven't seen my dad in a year. He never lets me go out of the basement. He gave me this phone today and said I can play games, but I opened the contacts and your number was the only one there.
It sounded like she had been kidnapped, but I tried to remain calm, trying my best not to frighten her even more. I took out my backup phone and dialed 911. The dispatcher picked up in a second, and I told her just to listen. I held the phone up close and continued to talk to Stacy. Can you tell me your last name and your parents' number?
My last name is Martin. I don't really remember my dad's number, but I do know 3 numbers. 203.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. Just stay on the line with me, okay? I hope the dispatcher was paying close attention and collecting the information, searching the database for a missing child by that name. Stacy's voice suddenly came through again, even more scared than before.
He's coming now. I can hear him.
A loud bang came from the room and Stacy started screaming, and on top of all that, I heard this deep voice shouting,
"You little bitch!"
There was a commotion, and then silence. Officers visited my home the following morning and took my statement. They had identified Stacy's parents, and it turns out that she had been missing for a year. After being abducted from her bedroom in the middle of the night, I waited up for the next several nights, praying that she would call me again. But she never did. The one thing that especially worries me is why the abductor had my number, and why I was his only contact. I answered a scam phone call the other day. You know, one of those pretend to be something legitimate like the IRS? I kept a landline as a decoy. I only give my cell phone number to people that I really trust, so that's the one that telemarketers and robocalls usually go for. I had been cleaning up my apartment when my phone rang. And when the caller ID showed an obviously spoofed number, I took a break from my labors to answer it. I figured fucking with a scammer would be a nice distraction from scrubbing the bathroom. The guy, in a refreshing twist, did not sound like an Indian trying to have an American accent, so it was probably genuine.
Hello, this is the IRS. Our records show a discrepancy with your account and you need to settle that payment as soon as possible. I'll need a working credit card number and your social security number.
I could practically see the script this guy was reading from. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that first part. I was grinning in anticipation of the obstacle course I was going to put this guy through. He sighed, like I was being difficult. He hadn't even begun to see me get difficult.
Our records show...
No, your name. I didn't catch it.
Sir, my name is not important. You need to make good on your debt. I have 911 ready on the other line, and you will be arrested for failure to pay.
My, the little fucker was forward, wasn't he? I ramped up my act. Oh my god, whatever could be wrong with my tax return? I've only been blackmailing my employees for sex. That's not considered embezzlement, is it?
Sir, you will be treated as a hostile party during arrest if you do not cooperate.
Oh, please don't take my vast fortune. It's all tied up in gift cards, I wailed. The guy on the phone let out another annoyed sigh.
Sir, you can't treat the IRS like a joke. What year do you think this is?
2017, the year of our Lord, I said as dramatically as I could. His end of the line went quiet.
That's not funny.
Oh what, did your OS forget to roll over during Y2K? Cracked software can do that sometimes. Do me a favor and delete your Windows 32 file, and that should fix things right up.
Sir, it's 1985. I will call the police if you do not cooperate.
That made me pause. What the fuck kind of game was this guy playing? I decided to continue. I hate to break this to you, buddy, but it just turned 2017, about a month ago. I have the celebrity deaths counter to prove it. His end of the line went quiet.
Sir, I must inform you that attempting to deceive a representative of the IRS constitutes a felony charge.
So you're in 1985. I sprawled sideways across my easy chair. Can you find Reagan for me and slap him? The caller was quiet for a few seconds.
Prove to me it's 2017.
Look, I don't have to prove shit to you. You're trying to scam me out of my goddamn money. I could hear him breathing erratically on the other side.
They promised me I could go right back if I worked, they said. I have a 10-year loan for God's sake.
Where are you calling from? A North Korean prison?
No, hell.
He said it so casually, like he was saying, I'm at the office, or I'm just down the block. So you're in hell, I repeated back to him.
I got tricked into coming here a while ago. They said if I worked for them for a bit, they'd send me right back.
He started mumbling away from the receiver. I could catch a few words here and there, mostly profanities. So what, you're making phone calls in the middle of the inferno?
Actually, it's a lot like an office. Everything's gray, even the computer screen. I have to squint really bad to read anything. At first I was glad, but, I kind of feel like Hellfire would be an improvement at this point. I never see anyone or talk to anyone. I just get the numbers and dial out.
He was babbling, and just sounded glad to hold a conversation with someone. It felt genuine. But this was rapidly becoming very creepy. So hell wants you to scam people out of their money? I got up and started pacing. Did Satan declare bankruptcy?
Nope, it's to make them desperate. People with no money tend to do things that get them into hell, like the guy before me. Someone stiffed him on his GI Bill. I had to agree to fulfill his remaining time. I said yes, and well, here I am.
The amount of detail was unnerving. He didn't stop or stumble through the whole speech.
It's not too bad. I mean, I don't get a whole lot of love from the other end of the phone, but everything's just so gray, I don't know how long I've been here, but the boredom just makes everything feel longer. I haven't eaten or gone to the bathroom since I got here. Haven't needed to. That's what made me think it hadn't been that long, but now that you mention it...
I was out of witty retorts at this point. What the fuck was this guy's deal? Most scammers would just hang up the second they had been found out. Why is he trying to sell me this story?
They told me it wouldn't be that long. Time would fly by, they said. I'd go right back. They wouldn't lie about that, would they?
Yeah, hell is renowned for being truthful.
But I haven't even done anything. They can't keep me here. I'm doing them a favor by working here. They'll owe me.
Yeah? Well, it doesn't sound like it. The guy just rambled on like he hadn't even heard me.
God, I should have gotten it in writing. I don't know how much time I have left on my contract. Unless you could take over my remaining time, couldn't you? You've got nothing going on. You're answering the phone in the middle of a Saturday. You could help me out.
I slammed the phone down so fast, you could swear my arm was spring-loaded. Then I pulled out the cord. I'm probably going to disconnect my landline. Sure, it means I'll have to be much more careful with my personal number, but at least you can install blocking apps on cell phones. I don't know what's more disturbing. The fact that the guy would inflate his lie to such an extreme, or the possibility that it wasn't a lie. Two years ago, my dad passed away from a stroke. The final image of him burned into my mind is his slumped body in front of his office computer, head tilted back, lips blue, skin bloated and purpling, dead. No one ever went into specifics on who found him. I didn't really care. When someone close to you dies, there's this period of time where life suddenly stops and begins spinning out of control all at once. As soon as the news broke, there was a sea of phone calls, text messages, and emails. Most of them went unanswered as I tended to my dad's personal matters. My mother was incapacitated. She sat, eyes fixed, staring at the wall most days. The doctors prescribed her multiple antidepressants and tranquilizers to help her sleep and stay calm. But when you hit that level of depression and anguish, nothing really helps. The loss destroyed her. She never recovered. As I began collecting some of my father's belongings from his office, I got handed a box that contained his cell phone. While handling my own grief, I sat in the parking lot of his work and scrolled through some of the unanswered voicemails he had never been able to receive. Most of them were from my mother. She would hear his voice on the recording. Other times she would have a conversation. There were unopened messages, mostly from me the day he died. I held the phone tightly in my hand, sobbing, struggling to breathe through my tears. His background screen was from Christmas the year before. Him, my mother, and I were wearing the tackiest Christmas sweaters, and we were all laughing. While I had my moment, my dad's phone began to ring. The number came through listed as unknown. I paused for a moment, but I decided to answer in the event that it was something regarding a bill collector. Hello? There was a muffled static on the other end. I paused, thinking that I had lost service. Right before I was going to end the call, a voice finally came through. Hey. Hi? I cautiously asked. It's okay. I'm here now. The words came through crisp and clear, but I couldn't shake this unnerving feeling that creeped up on me. Who is this? I looked at the phone screen again to assure myself that it was an unknown number. I don't know if I know you, I'm sorry. You know me, or you've at least heard of me. My heartbeat thudded hard against my chest. I'm sorry. What? I shook my head, confused and annoyed. Just know everything is going to be okay. Who is this? I repeated, my own voice strengthening. I know all about your father. Who are you? I tried to keep myself calm, but my temper flared. It felt like a prank, and I was losing my patience. Doesn't matter who I am? Yes, I spat angrily, nervously looking through my windshield to make sure that no one was watching me. My paranoia was gripping at me from all sides. The words coming through the phone felt invasive, like they were ringing in my head. I am known by many names, most commonly the devil, Satan, Lucifer, the Prince of Darkness. I stopped. Everything stopped. My jaw flopped open. Silence came from the other end, and I expected it to then be revealed as a cruel joke. Angry tears sprang into my eyes. Are you still there? Why would you do this? How could you do this to someone? This isn't funny. If you call again, I'm calling the cops. I was about to hang up, but something stopped me. I had a feeling deep in my bones, at my core. I couldn't deny that I was curious to know more about this person. I'm telling you the truth. I know that you're mourning, but it's important that we speak. Why? I want to tell you everything. What do you mean? Your father and I go way back. I've known him since he was a boy. He was nice. He helped me when I needed him the most. We were good friends. My heart was strumming against my ribs at this point. My hair was stuck to my forehead in a thick sweat. The inside of my car suddenly felt like an inferno. I dared not open the window though, because I was afraid someone would hear this bizarre conversation. Why would my father be friends with the devil? Why would the devil be friends with a human? I stiffened in my seat. He was a good man, and the devil is supposed to be mean and awful, right? The absurdity of what I was saying made me want to laugh. Why do you seem so nice? I'm no angel. I shook my head in disbelief. And neither was your father. The voice's tone shifted immediately, and I felt a chill. The sweat on my back ran cold and I shivered. What do you mean? Your father helped me. He helped me to survive for years. He was my right-hand man. In return, I gave him whatever he wanted. Jobs, promotions, a wife, children. The air ran thick. I sucked in a quick breath to make sure my lungs still worked, but I couldn't speak. He did things, unspeakable things, all for me. You're sick. You're a sick person. I regained control of my breathing and settled in for an angry tirade. You have no right to call someone and— You are going to lose everything, and when you do, I will call you again in 2 years' time to ask you what I asked your father. What? Your mother will die from a poisoned body. Your child will perish within the womb. Your wife will lay with another man. All lies within the current of destiny. I ended the call and threw my dad's phone across the front seat of my car. I felt lightheaded and dizzy. After a moment, I drove off, and I never spoke of the phone call to anyone. It always stayed with me, though. I never forgot the conversation, no matter how much I tried. When my mom was diagnosed with cancer last year, I still denied it. When my wife had a miscarriage and left me for another man, I denied it. My mother passed away on Christmas Eve. This morning, I awoke to my father's phone ringing from inside the box. It was stored in my closet, under piles of clothes and artifacts. Even though the battery is long since dead, it kept ringing. An unknown number is calling, and I think I'm going to answer it.
There's always a reason to be afraid.